Happy Thanksgiving to everybody there in McGolf land. We have some new news on some new putters. Not much in the way of pictures, only because I was lazy. And let's talk some golf club fittings, repairs, and reviews. All in What's My Drawers Golf Talk next. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Why What's in My Drawers? Because it's about what's in my drawers in the golf shop, and that's because old club makers and club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and I am no different. It's about what's in the drawers so we can talk about golf club repairs, golf club fittings, and golf club reviews, all so your scores can go low. If you would, and we'll get it out of the way now, like and subscribe, hit all that stuff across the bottom. That way you get more of this information when they drop, okay? That way, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell anybody that listen to you. We can always use another subscriber. Now, for those of you who have not seen, we released a video Sunday. It was kind of an experiment. We released a video to see how it would be taken, and it took off pretty decent. So we might start seeing, pardon me, we might start seeing releases closer to Sunday than anything else, because that way it gets it out to the people. Now, it could have been a fluke. We're going to find out. We're going to try a couple more like that, and we'll go from there. But it was cool. If you guys got any questions about the irons, I still got them here. That was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun to see it. Now, I did that test twice, and I did one on the other Flight Scope software, and the results were much tighter. In fact, the Orca in that was probably the tightest of the clan, which as a whole normally it is, and the rest of them were decent. I was hitting it pretty good. The software differentiates in length. If I hit it 165, 170 on the original software, it's probably closer to 145, 150 on the other software, and I just haven't quite figured out why. So that's the reason why I don't use it. So it's good software. The stuff is really cool. It's got to be I have a setting wrong, and I just haven't had the time nor the inclination to call him. Okay, so that was me. So Thanksgiving, right? It's coming right around the corner. So it's all about what you're thankful for. Put down the comments what you're thankful for. Right? Put what you're thankful for. I am obligated to say I'm thankful for Mrs. McGolf. I've got her sitting right here with me. She's got to keep me on time. So another thing is, I really got to leave at 6:30. I have in my other particular job, we have to feed the troops, and I have to leave at that time in order to make it there on time to do it. So we get the whole hour, just can't go over an hour this time. No, without being so funny or facetious, no, I really do. I'm glad. I'm thankful for Mrs. McGolf and the fact that she keeps me straight. And with what we've gone through in the last couple of months, she's been a real person to lean on, and I appreciate her very much. Okay. New putter stuff. Now, you can't see it because it's on the other side of this, but Odyssey, if you guys haven't seen, has released an AI putter, and the AI one is one, and they call the other ones, and we've seen them, Zero Torques. What are these guys calling them? Mallets. Yeah, you're going to see the Zero Torques. Basically, it's a stab right at the Lab Golf putters, and they're doing, I believe, 3 of them. One is the Jailbird. Everybody's seen the Jailbird, and a double wide. And I believe there's going to be another one. It probably is going to be the 7, since that's their number one thing. Now, if you guys have noticed, you've kind of seen the trickery. We won't say trickery, but where it's at, that most putter companies would never have put a golf shaft into the head, and it's recessed back from the face, and that's what helps with that Zero Torque. All right, and the Zero Torque means that it sits like this. If this is your path, it sits like this instead of wanting to flop open. Now, from Lab, their line angle balance is what they're calling it, and what they're doing is they're tweaking it so that, or putting it by weights based on your lie angle, so it does the same thing as it gets through. There'd be a little bit of difference getting to the same spot. Now they would get mad at me because their putter company long before them, at least 20 years ago, did it, and it was called Positive Putter. They're out of Indianapolis. I have no idea if they're still around or not, but it was a very moon shaped like putter, and it worked, but it was very light, and there wasn't a lot of modification that could be done to it. And they did a lot of the same things. They had um, a very low loft angle on them, and like most of these do, in order to get through it. And in the Positive Putter, the loft was drilled into the shaft versus into the face, so it made it a very symmetrical club. Now in the lab, yeah, we give lab down the road because the way the putter looks, but the thing works, right? I can't say enough about them. The Mez, I have the Mez Max with the Acra shaft in it, and it works, right? It works. It's not super duper heavy, but it's not light by any shape of the imagination. Now I have not seen these putters up close and personal, but when I do, we certainly will do a review on them. My representative is due to be down here Thanksgiving Eve, so we will most likely have a whole lot to talk about then. Now, there were a couple that caught me by surprise that they do have in their arsenal now. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but they've got a Jailbird Mini, but it comes with a double bend putter, or it'll come with the plumber's neck, and then they'll have a two ball Jailbird, which is basically, if you take the two ball shape, or the Jailbird shape, and kind of, you know how the two ball used to have that little tongue on it, and then do that, it's going to have that. So that if you guys are two ball fans and didn't like that tongue sticking out past where the semicircle for the putter went, you're going to like this one. Another one, the guy is a 24, which looks to be a very thick version of the Jailbird. And then one I was surprised to see was one called the Wingback. The Wingback looks a lot like the old Indy from Toulon, and only with a much more uh, wider base on it, right? A wider base on it. So there's a real attack going on here in the world of putters. So the lab guys, the thing that was holding the lab guys back from being just outstanding is the price tag, right? A lot of it's cost prohibitive in some cases, particularly if you put an aftermarket shaft in it. You do it with the other ones, it's going to be cost prohibitive too. Now, I don't know what this, again, I have no idea what this is going to look like, if they put their stroke lab into it or not. And it's a 90-gram shaft, it's steel. It shouldn't have a whole lot of wiggle, but you just never know. It'll be interesting to see. And the thing with a lot of the Odysseys, if they're mallet putters and they don't have a plumber's neck in them, that typically they're over the post putters, which makes most of the aftermarket putters no good because they're graphite at the bottom and they don't have a receiver piece for that to happen. Now BGT can do it because it's a steel shaft that can do an over the post, but that's about it that I'm aware of. Now KBS maybe that GPS, I don't know if it's graphite or if it's steel or some combination thereof. That might be able to do it as well. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. The last part of the news from the McGolf era is that Robin and I have decided that yay verily we are going to the PGA show. After if we talked it out about pros and cons, fun, not fun, things to do, people to see, that kind of stuff, and to do these every night, we just decided that's going to be what we're going to go do. And so as we get closer, we'll talk about more stuff and see where we go. So if you want like a play-by-play at night to see the things that we saw, starting with demo day, it it'll be a lot of fun, I think. So the question is when would you be more than willing to see this stuff? Okay, because the thing goes till 4 o'clock in most cases, and then we got to set up and download pictures and a lot of that kind of stuff. and then be able to get our notes together. And then we'd like to actually eat some dinner. So is 6 o'clock, 6:30, like we're doing, be okay 1 hour later than this, or make it go? Tell me again and put it in the show notes and let's see what we got. And for those of you guys that are seeing it later at recorded, let me know. Put them in there because we do see them. All righty. So let's get down to talking. All the way to the top. Here we go. John Cherry's first on. Greetings all, says Robin and Jim and fellow golfers. Happy Thanksgiving. My wish list is a new driver, putter, and a wedge.
Tell them about your guy that came all the way from Texas.
Oh, okay. So some fittings. Yeah. We didn't. I had a really good fitting weekend. And we fit two young golfers. They were both 16 years old and couldn't be, they're opposite ends of the spectrum. We had one that was a 16-year-old new golfer, about 3 years, and it was funny. I love fitting these golfers because they're literally fearless, right? They're literally fearless. One was a girl, one was a guy, and the guy just was swinging to be swinging and just getting it, and it was a lot of fun to watch him swing. He called it, well, he got a natural swing, and he did. He was on plane quite a bit, and I worked with him some, and we got him just beating the ball out there pretty good. The gal was a little more shy, but her swing was I'm gonna get typical or stereotypical here. For a girl at her age, her swing was very aggressive, and that was very cool too. She was just really wanting to get into it, putting all her muscles into it, and it was making it happen. And we got her out there. And in both cases, we didn't, they came in with these perceptions because they watch a lot of YouTube, and all their favorite YouTubers play this stuff until I show them something else. And so it turned out to be pretty cool. We ended up one walking away, fit into some Callaway Apexes, and another one fit into some high launches, and it's pretty cool. Now, the last one, which Ron wanted me to tell you about, is we had another person come from Texas, and he was, and we didn't even know. So I can say he came from Texas, but the reality of it was he was visiting his son in Washington, D.C., and he drove over this way in order to get over there, and then he was flying home. Yeah, that's what he told me. And we did a full fitting with him, and very good golfer, and he was in that 90s kind of thing going on, 80s, and it was literally because of the equipment he had. This was a case of his equipment was holding him back. He had a great golf swing actually, and because the stuff was just too stiff, the club just would not come around, and he actually had too much offset, which was in this particular instance because the shaft was holding it back. He just could not bring it around, or he would overcook it really bad. So we went this way with everything. Took a lot of the offset off. We took him down into I call a firm stiff kind of thing, the upper end of the stiff range. And next thing you know, it's like this. And now you can swing with confidence and come uncorked every once in a while and do fine. So yeah, I think it was fun.
The new golfer, the really big guy from Lancaster.
I don't know what you're talking about. Nope, I don't remember. Okay. Anyway, in a lot of cases, in every instance, a lot of these guys are like, oh, my putting is horrible. I'm like, all right, let's do some putting, and we woke them up with some putters. Makefield came out on top and won, and we a Odyssey double wide, so we're good. All right, moving on, Mr. Hammer. My new 430 arrives tomorrow. Unfortunately, my wife will make me wait until after Christmas to hit it. Oh man. Put a bow on it, put it next to the tree, and just let you look at it for a while. I don't know about that. All righty. John Blake says, happy Thanksgiving. Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for joining us. There's Charlie. Hello, Jim and Robin. Happy Thanksgiving to you both. See, this is what she's drinking out of today. So you can ask her now. Tim Callie, how's it going? Well, it's going good, bud. How are you? Got a question? Let us know, man. Thanks for joining. My dog Rex, what do you say? He's saying thumbs up, everybody, if you would. That'd be grand. Mr. Walker, what do you say, sir? Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. And Bill Nauman is on. Pardon me. Bill Nauman is on. Thank you, sir. Robin talk, Robin talk, Robin talk, Robin talk, Robin talk, Robin talk. How about that? All right. There's Peter, and he's still in Myrtle Beach. And you got the fusion still, right? The sun didn't take him? After all those holes in ones, I'd think he wouldn't. But okay. There's John. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoyed the video and all the irons. That was kind of fun, I do have to admit. The differences in the way that they felt, and it was just so, it was funny that the 921s, now I have to say, when I first made them, so I still can claim validity, is that I had jacked the loft about 1.5 degrees because they were extraordinarily weak. Otherwise, I'd be there with the Orca, and they were still weaker. And I told you the loft was about 1 degree weaker than the rest of them, and it still got out there. But man, those clubs just feel so solid, when you hit them. The real problem is when you don't. Wow. All righty, there's Don. Mark Nat, what do you say? Happy early Turkey Day. That's a fact. I think we got plans. New Year or Happy Thanksgiving Eve. We're going to go into Cincinnati and see some Christmas lights, and then we're going to do New Riff and do a Build-A-Bear bourbon. We'll see how Mrs. McGolf does with that. And then we're coming back in the morning, and we're going to put a turkey on the smoker. And the turkey breast surprisingly does not take very long, so that ought to be fun. Camilleo's on from down under. Long time no see, bud. Thanks for coming on. Been golfing? There's Robin. And there's Krister. I saw that you had some data that you put up from your Titleist fitting. How did that go? I saw that you weren't too far off on that driver, just a skosh ahead of the middle, which is normally not a bad place, man. Very well done. Robin. Tim Callie, there you go. Picking up the game of golf 2 months ago. Best game ever. Well, there's a lot of people on here that would agree with you, Tim. It's a lot of fun. And normally what we say is they call it golf because all the other 4-letter words were already taken. So there you go. There it goes. I'm thankful for, look at this. And all of you tuning in every Monday, all these nights, all these years. Look at her going. That's the most she's actually said on this thing in forever, right? Forever. Oh, Charlie says he's got one. Let's see. I have an A1 Mill TCH. It's a very nice putter. Good feel. It is a nice feel. Did you get the one? Oh, the milled one. Okay. That's the one with the copper insert in it, right? It's not the zero torque one, right? Is that what we're talking about? Okay. Let's see what. There we go. Last weekend, he ordered the T150 and a T100 combo set. I thought you had this once before. And 4-iron T150, 5-iron to Gapware to T100. Okay. That's not a bad little setup. T150 just a hair more forgiving. I'm down with that. Well done. Now let's see what kind of ridiculously stiff shaft you put in them. That's what I want to see. Kent. There's Kent. Callaway's coming in way cheaper than Lab, and that's true. They are. Though, Jim, it's a definite win for us Tykes. We make Scots look generous. Yes. Well, and that's really the case, really, right? If it swings very similarly, hopefully that adjusting a lie angle, because normally the putter lie angles will come standard right around 70. And if you go down one or go up one, that could make that putter tilt one way or to the other. And if you do, then it's no longer on its balance. And that's where the Lab putter shines, is that that's where they put it, and that's for a reason. I see it on these forums. Is it okay if I bend it? Well, yeah, it's okay if you bend it, but don't expect the balance to be there. And that's the reason why it's balanced the way it is, and that's the reason why all those weights are the where they're at. Now, I haven't had a chance to play with them because I don't have any additional weights, but so when we get this Callaway one in, we're going to play around with the angle and see what happens. Krister, he also got some SM10s. Ooh, a 5410, a standard grind, really? Okay, well, yeah, okay, I get that. And a 66K grind. Look at him go. I'm expecting lower scores, Krister. I'm expecting some lower scores. Yep, dropping some dough there. That's not bad. If he had but all that other stuff traded in, he might actually come out okay. Krister's going after it. No doubt. I'd like to see that too. Happy Thanksgiving Thursday. That's to Robin. There you go. And Robin sends back. James Dunlap. What do you say, sir? Thanks for showing up. Yeah, you couldn't resist, could you? No, I couldn't. It's hard to, but normally what we do is we always make it as a gathering of friends, and I'm getting that been in the business long enough that some of them are getting out, and so one of them in particular, there's been three of us, and one was Tim, and he's passed already. The other one is Ken, and Ken Collins. He was out of Massachusetts, I believe, or New Hampshire. That's what it was, New Hampshire. He's out of New Hampshire, and he's now living down in Florida. And religiously, whenever we go to the PGA show, we would get together on one day, and we would go to the Miller's Ale House and just catch up. And we could sit there for hours, just talking the talk about what we saw in the golf, what's going on personally, and just having a great time. And hopefully, we've already talked with Ken, so Ken's going to be there. We just got to figure out what day we were going to be talking with him, and then get from there. One thing you're going to miss at the PGA show is the Bourbon Trail. True that. If we really wanted to, I found out that there are some more. There's that one in St. Augustine, but that's a heck of a hike. But you never know. On the way out, we could stop in Georgia and go to 13 Colonies.
No.
I'm getting to hear that. 13 Colonies. Make our own Bourbon Trail. In fact, we passed one in South Carolina on the way down once. So you never know. You never know. But that's what we're going to try. McGolf will now be the focal point of the merging of golf and bourbon. There we go. All righty, there's Jack King. What do you say? Good afternoon from a cool and getting cooler Lombard. So today it got into the 60s. Just a couple days ago it was threatening snow. Here Mother Nature does not know when to give it up. And it was the 60s, but it's very, very overcast. And by Thursday, Thanksgiving, it's supposed to be raining. And by Saturday or Sunday, it's supposed to be into the 20s, so well below freezing. So my hope is that the rain dries out before the cold weather comes in, that we don't have cars slipping and sliding all over the place or people falling down and getting hurt. However, it's going to be super duper cold when we go back to work. All right, Charlie probably hit up all the ABC stores. ABC's got a silly thing where you got to get points accumulated. So I don't know. We'll see how that works out. See? Josh Fultz, Lab is well. Lab's good. I like Lab. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I think the technology is right there. I think what they've got going for them is the way that most of theirs are made is they got that steel in the middle, and then it's balanced by the aluminum frame with all that extra weight that's in it. And once you're in there, it's really, it is a silly looking putter in a lot of cases, but it works. And once it works, as we all know, success breeds acceptance. And once we get out there and you start making putts, it don't look that bad no more. And that's where I'm at. It just does not look that bad no more. And so I like them. Now, again, it's not for everybody, but there is competition, and healthy competition is normally good for the consumer. John says, anytime that works for me. It might be that I just throw it up there and say, here we are, and we're getting started. I'll give you guys about a half an hour to an hour advance notice. That's always a possibility, too. With the idea of going live and all those other things, we might be able to just turn on our phone and go. You just never know about such things. They're asking for, I saw one where they're now asking for social media people. They've put it out there that have over 100,000 followers. I don't know where these people are getting their ideas from for 100,000, but that's quite a bit. And last two times they did it were these. Unfortunately, they were teeny boppers, and I don't know if they made a hit literally from a social media point of view. As far as views go, I mean, if we get down into the metrics of it, every time I've done this, it's not been a very high view rate. It just hasn't been. But the people that watch it all the way through. So that's the engagement, and that's really as important. And so that's what we're going for. We're going to go for some engagement. Hey, Krister says he's laughing back at you, Kent. I thought it was better to get everything now so I have a practice during the winter. I've tested the G2-8, and it's a beast even when I fade a shot. Well, there you go. And I saw him practicing with that putt out again, and he had a whole different putter. Now, he did miss one, I will say that, but he made everything else he looked at. So I'm telling you, Krister is like he is the, how do you call it, the ringer when it comes to doing scrambles. He's the guy I would expect to sink a 40-footer and come in. Those guys that come in at 18 under, he'd be on that team. There we go. Yep, I'll post video on Instagram here on YouTube. Very cool. Josh Fultz, all right. Now he said, well worth the money. People will spend $1,000 on a driver aftermarket shaft, no problem, just to slice it off the planet. Josh, I can't argue with that thought process, man. Obviously, a driver is an ego club, and everybody wants to outdrive their buddy on the tee in order to have bragging rights. But when it comes right down to it, it's being able to put that ball in the cup in the fewest strokes possible. And the putter and the wedges will help you do that. It's statistically proven. If you play inside 150 like a maniac, you can beat a lot of people. So, yeah, you're no no arguments here. You're next in line. There we go.
That's three shots.
Yep. We got the box out. I got another set for a person we fit, and all I got to do is glue him up, and then you're next. Okay. John Blake, any what?
Anytime.
Oh, anytime. Okay. Cool. Where do I find him? Camellia wants, where do I find information about length for junior golfers? Usually hard to find. As a whole, Camellia, the best place to go to find it is US Kids Golf. They normally have a quick fitting guide on colors versus height. And if you're just doing it for, if you're just, you have a very junior type golfer, they're trying to figure it out, or even one that's progressing to get better. Pardon me. The US Kids has a lot of information. It's all based on height, and we've used them for quite a while, and they're not too far off. So the height corresponds to colors. And then there are normally two styles. There's one for the beginning golfer that's just trying to figure it out, and they come in various kits where you can get a bag with 4 clubs, 6 clubs, that kind of stuff. Or they have one that is for the more advanced golfer that's a little stronger, and they have a little nicer heads. The material's a little bit better. the driver, instead of being steel, is titanium, that kind of stuff. And it really makes a difference. And the funny part is, in either case, neither one of them are that expensive. And I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have a thing where if you bought 5 golf clubs, that you got one free. And I don't know if they still have it, but certainly look it up. But US Kids is where it's at. Ken says, just made it out of Scotland this weekend before God decided 16 inches of snow on it. Wow. Wow. Scotland, I hope, is prepared for that kind of stuff. So 16 inches of snow. Wow. That's a lot. Chris Greenslade, we say happy Thanksgiving to all our American friends from a very wet and windy west of England. Well, Chris, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. John Blake. All righty. Garrett Clemens, what's up, brother? Just had my best round of the year today, 69. Well done, dude. Well done indeed. -3 on my home course from the back tees. I'm on top of the world. 5 birdied and 1 double. Finally figuring out my putter. Yeah, well, awesome. That's great. I'm saying hello. Charlie doesn't have the zero torque. Correct. It's the Anser copy with the rounded flanges and the copper insert. I believe they say it's titanium. Also got the Stroke Lab 70 shaft in the Odyssey 56. Okay. 56. The Stroke Lab 70, I like that one. They went to the 90 now. But the was it titanium? They got that little piece that goes in behind it too. So good. I'm glad it's working out. I'm glad you like it. Camilio had been golfing a bit. The swing is I had been golfing a bit. Swing is turning more stable. I'm struggling to drive over to 285. Contact still not solid. Well, dude, not getting. You're not going to hear a lot of complaints, man. When you get over 285, there's not a whole lot of people that are going to complain about that one. But in either case, Camilio, again, we talk about that one. Length and weight, man. Length and weight, and then you got to start tweaking, with profiles and tee heights and that kind of thing. But keep it up. 56 grip. Okay, gotcha. Krister says actually had higher spin numbers with the Project LS60 than with the C-Taper lights in the 115X. I could see that. The C-Taper light is going to be about the same weight class ish, but the Project X, even if it says LS, no, that's just not their thing. But I could see the C-Taper light producing that. Garrett says he tried the Titleist GT. It's insane so long. Really? We'll have to check. We'll have to see about that. Some of those irons spin will work well, especially with wedges, no doubt. Well, I had one. That was the thing. I was fitting the kid, the 16-year-old boy, and we were talking about spin. I said, "Oh, that was 8,000, 8,800," and he goes, "What's that?" And I said, "Spin." And the first words out of his mouth, "Oh, will that make it come back?" No, not really, bud. But have fun with that. And I said, now you got to keep in mind, when you see those professionals on TV, that it's cool to see it come back every once in a while. But with wedges, they're not planning that, unless you know that you hit it X number of feet forward, and you're going to bring it back so far. But most people can't play that. So I got him off the ledge on that one. Jeff Cohen, what do you say, sir? Good golf from Australia. We are in our summer, so lots of golf and beach days. Well, very cool for you. Well, let us know if you got something. Garrett says, was beautiful 70 here in North Carolina. I can dig 70 in North Carolina. I bet that was massive comfortable. Highs in the 40s. Charlie, I think your days of being past 40s are pretty much gone. Just what it is. Being up there in the northern climate, that's just, and we're not too far behind you, man. I think after this weekend of everything being in the 20s, that we're not going to see past the 40s for a while. Kent, he played in 19 degrees Fahrenheit last week, still wearing shorts. Kent is the toughest guy we know. Mrs. McGough says, hey, hit that like button if you would, please. Jerry says, my golfing buddy and I are attempt to play on Thanksgiving morning. Yes, it's supposed to rain here as well. That's unfortunate. I'd really like for it not to, but it is what it is. Garrett says he's been using a 10-year-old Ping and been putting the eyes out of it. Every once in a while, you just get one of those putters that just fits you, right? Just absolutely fits you to the tee. And the funny one is I got a lefty Ping putter that I picked up at Myrtle Beach that I think was refinished. Maybe they refinished it, and it's got that awful wrapped style Ping grip on it. But whenever my stroke goes just sideways, I'll pull that thing out and I'll use it to kind of focus what I need to do on it. I don't know what it's about because it's light and it's a putter I will never take out onto the course, but you always get something like that, right? And that's cool. He says it's already done. Ron G says our club closed on the 17th. We had our last hurrah until spring. May go to a sim facility to maintain the swing. Well, they're getting better now, Ron. The sims are getting better. The tracking of the club used to really be a problem. I think technology has caught up with it, and it's making it a little bit more price conducive now, and that's being better. The other part of it was the where you're hitting it off of, and where you're hitting it off of will give you a false sense of security, because if it's those flat, no gripping kind of spaces, you're always hitting this good shot, and so you hit him, a 175 7-iron or whatever, and then you get out in the real world, and all of a sudden you're taking a divot. It's going 150, 155, and you're like, well, how's this? Well, it's because you've been sim playing, and you need to readjust your game a little bit. But the new turfs can make that go away. All righty. Yep. I got like 11,000 spin on full shots with the 60, 9,000 with the, and 55-yard shots. Okay, cool. That's a heck of a spin rate. That's a stop, drop, and don't go anywhere else kind of stuff going on there, Krister. Well done. There it is, check spin. That's that bamp, bamp, and then stop, and you're right there. Garrett says he just got one of the new RTX raw faces. I like the raw face technology. I've got those in my J grinds from Odyssey, not from Odyssey, from Callaway. And man, I like them. I like them a lot. I said flanges meant bumpers on the punter. I knew what you're talking about, brother. We're good. Ken says he's playing the RTX 6 Tour rack, and he likes them. I like them. We got the RTX 6, but we only have the one in the mid. So the new ones that are coming out look to be pretty aggressive little setup, and we like those. Mike Del Vesco, I use irons wedges that are 3 degrees upright. In a similar vein, should I use a putter that is upright and can most be bent? Well, so Mike, in a lot of cases, there is a lot of similarities between how you putt and how you swing an iron. And it wouldn't be a stretch to say you would need an upright putter. Would it be 3 degrees? Maybe. You might find yourself a little bit more, depending on It depends on the length of the putter. So keep in mind, as you're going more upright, that means you must be vertical or getting really close to the ball. And as you're doing that, your putter will probably end up getting shorter. And when it gets shorter and you're soling it correctly, chances are, yeah, it's going to be upright. And yes, most can be bent if they have a hosel. If they have if they're over the, pardon me, if they're over the pin or over the post, much like most of the Odysseys we just talked about, they are bendable. If you have a plumber's neck, they are bendable. Now, I got to keep in mind some of those, depending on the metal, the cheap putters that are made out of zinc, not bendable. Some of the milled putters that are very hard metal, yeah, they're bendable, but at the cost of defacing the hosel or the hosel or the neck. Pardon me again. And but in most cases, now double bends or straight in shafts that are just the shaft going into a hosel section of the putter, not so much. You can probably get about a degree to a degree and a half before you start denting the shaft, and then it starts changing how you play. So you got to be very, very careful. And see, Garrett says that's what he has. The ones that rust. Love him. He's got he's got a whole plethora of them, 46, 50, 54, and 58. I do like the Modus, though. Oh, there you go. We talked about that one. Thankful for family and healthy enough to enjoy the game of golf. That is one heck of a thought, John. Well done. Charlie says he never thought he'd find a putter that would kick my bullseye out of the bag. Well, I'm glad you found one, Charlie. The bullseye, that would probably intimidate. If you pulled out a 8802, that would probably intimidate some people, particularly when you started dropping all kinds of putts. That would be awesome. There's RS from St. Louis. What's going on? What's cooking for Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving. Do you hear that? Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Bourbon glazed turkey, bourbon gravy, and bourbon cranberries. Well, maybe one of them. In fact, that's what we were doing just yesterday. We were kind of going over a meal plan for Thanksgiving. This will be the first year in our existence that we probably didn't have anybody coming over, no relatives, no dad, no nothing. And it's going to be it's going to be boring. And I'm not a football watcher. I haven't watched football since the kneeing thing, but they're kind of coming away, so I might have to regain that tradition back. But it's never boring with her. You are correct, dear.
Good job.
And but we're going to do the turkey breast, like we said. Robin makes a mean corn casserole, so we're going to get the small squares instead of the big squares. And corn casserole. We're going to do some deviled eggs, of course, some rolls, some of the pumpkin pie, and what do we say? Green bean salad or
Mashed potatoes.
oh, mashed potatoes. So pretty straightforward meal. And there we go.
Pie.
Huh?
And pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie. Now, bourbon will be part of that, but I just don't know where. Not sure about the toughest. Maybe I'm the craziest. Look, it kind of goes hand in hand when you're wearing shorts in the middle of snow. All righty. Christopher says, I did my first test with the new GT28 today on TrackMan 284, 306 total. That is beating the snot out of it, Christopher. Well done. Used an off-brand control. The controller. I remember the controller. The controller, man. That was a deal. That was like right there next to the hammer. But people used it, and they got away with it. Yeah. There we go. Kent, did you have ice on the jewels when you started shorts at 19? No doubt. If not at the end, he did. Do you use TrackMan or Foresight or what? My Foresight seems like it's not reading right, way shorter than on course. So Garrett, I use a Flight Scope, and Flight Scope is akin to a TrackMan. They both kind of came out together, and that's what I use. The Foresight, I thought about it, and I thought about changing over once, but we're just real good friends with the Flight Scope folks, and it's reading well in the older program. We got to figure out the other one. The reason being, the reason why I'm not a big Foresight fan, although I do love their graphics and the things that they do, that whole idea of when they first had that carnival thing where kids could pop balloons or knock down zombies and things like that to help you practice. I thought that was outstanding. And it's because of much experience is that there's no way I can put that launch monitor right here in front of a guy. I've watched too many people shank too many clubs, and yes, that direction away from them. And to hurt a $15,000 piece of equipment is not up my alley. And the other part is if you go left-handed to right-handed, now you got to set it up and you got to calibrate it. Albeit it doesn't take real long. I don't have to. I just set it back here in the middle and I just tell if it's left-handed, right-handed, and away we go. What's the numbers on that, Krister? I would hope that's his driver. If he hit the sand wedge like that, we're in trouble. Made sure when I got back. Aha! Swing speed, ball, smash factor, etc. Krister. Okay. Good book for you to read, Jim. Stalking the Red Bear. It will bring back memories. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Army Navy's coming soon. I haven't looked in a long time. I think they both lost now and they're both out of the top 25, or is one of them still in? That would be fun to see. It's going to be whose running back scores the most yards is pretty much how that's going to go out. Okay, here we go. 112 club head speed, ball speed 164, a 147 smash factor. That is a excellent smash factor, by the way. Excellent spin. Can't measure because it's mounted in the ceiling. What? How is that? Well, that's a different way of looking at it, but okay. Didn't know you could do that. It'll be different, Jim. That's all. Just different. Enjoy the raw memories with your dad. Oh, yeah, for certain. And that's just what it is. Something, it's part about getting life and the whole 9 yards. And hopefully we get her taken care of. Alan Pontier, Jim, love your channel. What are your thoughts on single length irons and who should consider these? Thanks. Well, I've said it a couple of times. The single length has its place in the world of golf. I don't know if it's going to be something that stays forever. As long as there's a Bryson DeChambeau out there, there will always be a call for something like that. From a pure physics point of view or a pure scientific point of view, if you could make all your clubs the same length and same weight and same everything, and you swung them the exact same way and got a different result, that's like inverse insanity, I suppose. And you got different results, your consistency ought to be just drop dead zero, right? It ought to be right there. Everything ought to be bam, right on top of each other, and go where you want it to go the whole 9 yards. But we're all golfers, so we all swing a little bit differently. Now, what Bryson has done is he's taken a lot of articulation out of his swing, and he's been and of course he trains like a madman, and he's taken a lot of articulation out, and he's become extraordinarily consistent with it. Us as amateurs, we normally don't do that. So, does it have its place? The answer is yes. If you're a traditional golfer, chances are you are not going to like it, because you'll probably enjoy it for about 3 or 4 rounds, and you'll be looking for something else, because one way or another, you're going to go and you're going to hit that pitching wedge really, really far because it's longer, and you're going to take this harder swing at things and go, wow, it goes further. And the same thing in the 5-iron, because the specs are going to creep into your head, and you're going to grunt, and you're going to make a poor swing, and it's not going to go as far. Why do I say it like that? Is because that's what's happened to people that we've done single length before. So if you can keep that out of your head, it's a wonderful tool. If you're somebody that's not a traditional golfer, then this might be what you're looking for. I've had some guys in here that I made a single length for years ago, and what we did is we just went and did the another fitting for another set of advanced single length irons in order just like anybody else going, hey, it's time for a new set of irons. That's what we're doing. And so they're out there. Solid numbers. You are correct. Yes, thanks. All shots were fades. That was stock shot I was trying to practice for the season. Well, it looks like you got her. Talk to the face, but a hook won't listen. There you go. The TrackMan IO. Oh, okay. It's an IO. I got you now. I get it. Ron G's going back to putters. He had a Bettinardi Odyssey Scotty and a Cobra Stingray. I don't think I've seen a Stingray. I left them at all at home for a Ping Sigma. Great confidence and results. You know, Ron, that's kind of the biggest thing when we talk about doing putter fittings here is why do we do what we do? And the end result is confidence. And you stroll up with your putter in hand and you know that you're going to have a really good shot at dropping the rock in the hole. You make a much better putt as opposed to getting all bunched up and choking down an inch and bending over the putter and making this really conservative move, which typically does not result in a good putt, and getting it out there. And so the idea is to give you some more confidence and being in the, of course you got to be able to see the putt. The putter's got to work for you. But yeah, and the Sigma really did pretty good this year, I think. Oh, you can hit shots in the dark and it'll attract shots with no problem, even spin. Ooh, like that. TrackMan do ceiling mounted monitors now, Jim. Our local studio uses it. Oh, okay. Hence the reason why you can't get angle of attack. Okay. Gotcha. Single length, no way. Like I said, it's for some folks, not for everybody. Krista, are you familiar with Marcus Albad? Love the videos and the way he teaches. I am not either. Same as yours, Krista, Showman's Club and Ball Pack. Okay, nice. And yes, golf. Yes, it does. Okay, very cool. All righty. Well, look at that. You guys are timing it. You guys are timing it well for me, and I appreciate it. We're getting down to about 8 minutes early, so it's going to allow me to sign off a little bit. So again, everybody, whether you're here in the States or not, happy Thanksgiving. Well wishes to everybody. Enjoy your holiday. Have a truckload of fun. Eat way too much. Watch lots of football if needed, and have fun with your family. And again, we appreciate that everybody wanting to come in there. Oh, look at here, all kinds of stuff.
They're all saying happy Thanksgiving.
Yep, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Anyway, the as we go about it, we appreciate all the support and keep us in mind. You never know when we'll figure out some ideas that would be really cool for this PGA show, so we can make this the premier people watching spot. And as always, let's see your scores. Go low.